Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about what you should use on your back bar for your healers. I know a lot of people start with a lightning staff, and I'm going to tell you why you should not do that. I recommend running an infused ice staff on the back bar, and there's a couple of reasons for that. So let's get into the information. If you go to the destruction staff skill line, and then you go down to the ancient knowledge skill line, or excuse me, passive. This will explain the benefits you get for the types of staffs that you have equipped, either Inferno Staff, Lightning Staff, or Ice Staff. Now, when you have an Inferno Staff equipped, then you get an increased damage. Now, this is damage, you have to remember. These are damage increases to damage over time and status effects, and then lightning staffs give you increased damage to direct damage and channels. That does not translate to healing. That's something you got to really pay attention to. Like, for example, when you go into, like, for the champion tree here, uh, into the blue tree, and you pick fighting finesse, this does increase your critical damage and your critical healing. It has to say healing in order for that to increase your healing. If it says in this passive here that it's going to increase your damage done, that does not affect your healing. Now the third thing is your ice staff here. Now this is completely beneficial for a healer. This reduces the cost of your block by 36%, as well as increases the amount of damage that you can block. So let's take a look at that here. Now, another thing is when you fill in the trifocus, which is a no-no on tanks, but I would recommend doing it on healers. And I'll get into that in a little bit. When you have an ice staff and you either heavy attack, or when you lay down your wall of elements, or your blockade rather, you're going to give your group a shield, which is very helpful. Now, when you have an ice staff equipped and you fill this in, you also block with magicka. So on tanks, when you're looking at their builds, they're blocking with their stamina bar because their stamina bar is bigger. And so they want to block with stamina. Well, on a healer, in almost all of the cases, your magicka bar is bigger. So you don't want to block with this because you don't have a lot of it. This is for roll dodging and running around and getting out of an AoE. You don't also want to block with this if you can avoid it. This is a small amount of a resource here. This is twice as big, more than that actually, and so you want to make sure that you can block with this instead. Now, if you are blocking on your front bar with the resto staff, as you can see, I'm blocking with stamina with that. And if you have a lightning staff or a flame staff equipped on your back bar, that's also what you're going to block with. Now, if I bar swap and I go to my back bar, which is my ice staff, and I hold block, you can see I'm blocking with magicka. Much better to do that. You want to block with magicka, your pool is a lot bigger. Now, obviously, you don't want to stay on your back bar and hold block a ton because you will eventually run out. But this is mainly just, you want to do it for a mechanic and then quit doing it. Now, I'll go on my front bar again real quick, and we'll look at something else. We'll look at the two things that is affected by the ice staff. Okay, the advanced, here's the block cost here, and then the block mitigation. So right here on my front bar, it's going to cost me 2,069 stamina, and I'm only going to be able to block 52% of the damage coming in. So if I bar swap, now it's almost, not quite, but almost half the cost. and then I get another 10% in blocking, so I can block an additional 10% here. And as I said before, when you lay down your Wall of Elements, you get a shield. And so does your group. Doesn't last a long time. It's only 5 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that. But it's a benefit that you don't get from the other staff types. The other staff types, they're easy. They feel like they're easier to heavy attack. It's really no difference. All you have to do is aim your little cursor here at that, like that flame right there, and then that's it. That's it. All you do is just heavy attack that. So that's my information on that. I will go in a little bit further here and say I will recommend that you go with an infused trait, and then I put a weakening glyph on my staff to help out tanks and reduce the boss's weapon damage by 452. If you do that and put your Wall of Elements on the enemy, that infused glyph will stay up 100% of the time, and that is a unique 452 weapon damage that you are stripping from the enemy. That frees the tank up to run a stamina absorb or something else on their own staff so they can keep the resources up. They could put a shield glyph on if they wanted to, but they don't have to run the weakening glyph if you do it for them, and then they can focus on getting resources or something else that's helpful for them. I would recommend doing this if you need to know how to make a weakening glyph. I'll run over here to my table and I'll show you. It's just like a weapon power glyph, except for you use the different top. I gotta get on my crafter build. It won't let me do it on this one. Okay. By the way, I recommend craft builds. They're helpful. Okay, so this is how you normally make a weapon power glyph. It's Okori and Kuda for a weapon damage glyph. If you want to make a weakening glyph, all you have to do is change the first glyph from Rapora to this other 160, which is Itade, and then that's how you make the weakening glyph. If you wanted to make a crusher, which is not going to be as optimal anymore, then you go with Datiri, like right here, and that will strip. It ends up being 2108 when you put it on a infused staff, but armor is already handled, and if you build your team correctly, you don't need to build for that. Stripping the armor on is pretty much handled, so all you really need to do is gut the enemy's weapon damage that way, and that should really help. But that's going to be my video on the ice staff. Thanks for watching. I'll make some more videos when I can. Check out my channel. If you go to my channel and then you go down into my playlists, I have all of my content separated out by subject: healer stuff, tank stuff, DPS stuff, trials, PvP, crafting, all kinds of stuff. Check out my channel to see if I've got any other videos you might be interested in. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again. Bye.